Cathy Newman is considered a courageous reporter. She's known for asking even the awkward questions. And that's why the British journalist did on Thursday, during a press conference, unexpectedly convened by the Kremlin. She confronted Russia's Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov with the numerous war atrocities that have already become known in the first week of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Putin's war. Newman immediately used the first of the two questions she was granted during an interview with a dozen international journalists to talk about Polina Zapadinskaya. The 10-year-old Ukrainian girl was killed in Kiev along with her parents and 5-year-old brother, presumably by a Russian missile attack. Mr. Lavrov, you have a daughter yourself. Newman began to confront the always grim-looking foreign minister directly. I want you to look me in the eye and tell me how you can still sleep soundly at night, knowing that Russian bombs and bullets are killing children. For a brief moment, Lavrov seemed surprised, first sorting his hands and affirming that every human life is irreplaceable, only to coolly add that the use of military force could not only affect military personnel, but civilians as well. However, the Russian troops are instructed to only carry out precision strikes in their attacks in Ukraine. And of course he regrets it if children die. I can only offer my condolences, he said. The 71-year-old is Europe's longest-serving foreign minister. Since 2004, he has represented the Russian Federation in the world. He's considered a politician who knows all the ropes, a tough negotiator who has long been part of Vladimir Putin's inner circle and is known for embarrassing those he doesn't like, and that in front of the cameras. Among diplomats and journalists, the eloquence and lightning-fast mind of the tall giant are just as feared as his occasional outbursts. And Newman, who works for the British TV channel 4 News, did not give up. They say precision missiles are being used, but there are reports that hundreds of civilians have already been killed, she said. This will now be investigated by the International Criminal Court, and I wonder if you have personally thought about how you will defend yourself in a war crimes trial. And Lavrov really got pissed there. I understand you need to ask such angry questions, he said. You want to stir up emotions in your audience, but that's probably your job, if I understand correctly. You don't want to be a serious medium. You want to pound into people's heads something that is required of Western leaders, he says. The personal attack is part of the standard repertoire of Putin's chief diplomat. Who the hell are you to discipline me? He is said to have snapped at the then British Foreign Secretary David Miliband during a telephone conversation in 2008. It was not until early February that Lavrov publicly snubbed his British counterpart Liz Truss when he accused her of insufficient preparation for a visit to Moscow at a press conference. I feel like a mute is talking to a deaf person here, he edged. Speaking to TV journalist Newman, Lavrov gave a prime example of how he reacts when someone tries to corner him. With reference to military operations by the West, he tried to put the allegations against him into perspective. We are not the ones who invented the term collateral damage. Our Western colleagues worried about that during their escapades in Iraq and in other regions like Latin America or Libya. Did you also ask such emotional questions there? And I liked her answer then. Yes, I certainly have, Newman countered. But you started this war. Polina Zapadinskaya's blood is on your hands, isn't it? She was now visibly upset. Now you're playing a game with me, Lavrov reprimanded to the journalist sharply. You're acting like you're on a talk show. Lavrov sent a meaningful look in the direction of his press officer, but then continued. His remarks that followed contained the Kremlin's worldview as if under a magnifying glass. According to Lavrov, the invasion of Ukraine is only the result of Ukrainian provocations and years of atrocities in Donbass. This narrative fits into the narrative of the security operations that Russia is ostensibly undertaking in Ukraine to protect its own people. A narrative that the Kremlin propaganda has been drumming into the Russian population for weeks and months. However, Lavrov not only redeclared the aggressive war, which according to international law violated international law, into an inevitable defense operation. He once again reversed the roles in the brief dialogue when he accused Newman of having no conscience, working unprofessionally, and doing her journalistic work purely for propaganda purposes. Where were you in the past 8 years when thousands of women, children, and the elderly were killed by mines operated by the Ukrainian regime in Donbass? Yeah, what a no bullshit he's spreading there. The appearance of the Russian foreign minister once again demonstrated the well-known rhetoric of the Kremlin. Like Putin, Lavrov also knows how to fend off his opponents with words. Their favorite means of doing this is turning the opponent's attack against themselves. This is a principle of the actually noble combat and self-defense sport of judo. Putin is an experienced judoka, even if he doesn't have the belt anymore. But it's also the principle of rabulistics, that somewhat half-baked rhetoric technique that is about getting the upper hand at all costs. Lavrov and Putin could be called experienced rabulists. According to the German Duden, a rabulist is someone who argues in a subtle, petty, opinionated way, often twisting the true facts. And incidentally, Lavrov tried exactly the same thing here as a number of pro-Putin trolls try to do every day in the comments under my videos. Whataboutism. They try to distract from Putin's crimes and direct the discussion to the other side. That will not work for any intelligent person. No matter who did what in the past, it doesn't put today's crimes into perspective. Putin is a dictator and a war criminal, and whataboutism is not going to change that. And I will not allow anyone on my channel to downplay Putin's war crimes and Putin's war against Ukraine. And I will continue to report on what is happening, and I will call things by their proper name. Also war criminals and wars, even if Russia's dictator suppresses these words in his own country. And if you don't like reality, that means now the pro-Putin trolls, I'll say one thing. You won't win, and you can leave my channel. This war by Putin against a democratic sovereign country will not achieve the goal that Putin has set for himself. The West is more united than ever. And I'll see you in my next video when I tell you more about what's going on. I'll see you there. Bis gleich.